I've been doing this for over 40 years. I've seen every kind of excuse. I've seen tough people cry and proud people beg. I've learned something simple. The law only works when it works on everyone, even the ones who think they're too special for it. This case started like a traffic matter. That's what people call it. Like traffic can't ruin a life. The clerk read it in a normal voice. Case number 24 TC 1893, State of Rhode Island versus Miles Rourke. Then the doors opened, and the whole room shifted. Miles Rourke was 34, tech billionaire, founder of Rourke Dynamics, the kind of man who gets interviewed for success while everyone forgets to ask what he crushed on the way up. He came in wearing a charcoal Tom Ford suit that fit like it was painted on, white shirt, top button open like rules were for other people. On his wrist was a Rolex Daytona that flashed every time he moved his hand. The scent of his cologne hit my bench from 10 feet away, something sharp and expensive. And behind him came 12 lawyers. I counted them because my eyes didn't believe it. 12 suits, 12 briefcases, 12 faces that looked trained to say, "My client denies," without ever blinking. One carried a leather portfolio that looked like Hermes. One had cufflinks shaped like tiny scales of justice, like a joke. They walked in a tight pack around him, like he needed a human wall between him and consequences. Miles didn't look scared, he looked annoyed, like court was a calendar problem. His lead lawyer stepped forward. E. Whitcomb, the kind of attorney who talks like he's on TV. Perfect hair, perfect smile, voice smooth as glass. "Your Honor," he said, "we are here on a matter involving Mr. Rourke, and we would like to address this efficiently." Efficiently, like a courtroom was customer service. I looked down at the file.
All right, guys, buckle up, because this case walks in like a routine traffic matter and immediately exposes a deeper truth about power and entitlement. A seasoned judge reflects on decades of excuses before the doors open to reveal Miles Rourke, a tech billionaire wrapped in luxury, confidence, and a wall of 12 lawyers. The courtroom atmosphere shifts instantly, signaling that this is not just about speed or traffic, but about whether the law applies equally to everyone.
"Mr. Rourke," I said, "you're charged with reckless driving, failure to yield to emergency personnel, and leaving the scene of an accident involving injury." That last charge landed heavy in the room. In the second row sat the woman who got hurt. No lawyers, no entourage, just her and a folder held tight against her chest like it was the only thing keeping her steady. Her name was Elena Morales, 39 years old, registered nurse at St. Catherine's Medical Center, night shift, single mother, one son, 8 years old, Mateo, type 1 diabetes, the kind of condition that doesn't care if you're tired or broke. It needs attention every day, every night. Elena wore plain black pants and a blue cardigan. Her shoes were scuffed at the toes. Her hair was pulled back in a simple clip.
As the charges are read, the weight of the case settles when the injured victim is revealed. Elena Morales, a nurse and single mother, sits alone with no entourage and no polish, just quiet resilience. Her presence contrasts sharply with Rohr's wealth and indifference. When she stands to confirm she is the complainant, her calm voice carries strain, setting the emotional stakes and reminding the room that this case already left real damage behind.
No jewelry, no glow, just fatigue, the kind you see in people who serve everyone else and still have to beg the world for basic fairness. I asked her, "Ms. Morales, are you the complainant?" She stood. "Yes, Your Honor." Her voice was calm, but I could hear the strain under it. I called Officer Luis Ramirez, badge number 271. He stepped forward in uniform, stood straight, and spoke clearly. He didn't come to impress anyone. He came to tell the truth. At approximately 10:47 p.m. on April 18th, Ramirez said, I was stationary with emergency lights activated, assisting a disabled vehicle on Broad Street near Clayton Avenue. Traffic was slowed. A black Lamborghini Aventador approached at a high rate of speed. A Lamborghini. Of course, he continued. My radar estimate and visual assessment placed the vehicle at approximately 82 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. 82 in a 30. That's not an accident. That's a choice. And the vehicle did not yield, he said. It passed within approximately 2 feet of my patrol unit. I had to step backward to avoid being struck. I watched Miles Rourke while the officer spoke. Miles stared at his nails like he was waiting.
Officer Ramirez takes the stand and lays out the facts with precision. A Lamborghini traveling 82 miles per hour in a 30 zone nearly strikes him, swerves, and crashes into Elena's car. The description is clinical but devastating. The vehicle flees the scene, leaving an injured nurse and a shaken officer behind. As Ramirez speaks, Rohr's detached demeanor makes the testimony feel even heavier, underscoring the recklessness described.
Waiting for a meeting to start, not 1 inch of shame on his face. Ramirez looked down at his notes. The Lamborghini swerved to avoid my patrol unit and struck a Honda Civic that was exiting Clayton Avenue. The Honda spun, impacted the curb, and the driver, Ms. Elena Morales, sustained injuries consistent with whiplash and a fractured left wrist. Elena swallowed and blinked fast, like she was forcing herself not to cry, and then Ramirez said the line that made my jaw tighten. The Lamborghini did not stop. It left the scene, heading southbound. Leaving the scene, leaving a hurt person in the road, leaving an officer standing inches from death. That's not just reckless. That's selfishness with horsepower. Ramirez added, I pursued. The vehicle accelerated. I discontinued at 2:23 a.m. after the vehicle was later located, parked at the
The courtroom tightens when the officer confirms the car was later found at a luxury hotel garage. When confronted, Rohr responds with a single smug word, allegedly. Elena then speaks, describing exhaustion, a broken wrist, and fear for her diabetic son. Her account is not dramatic, just painfully real. The contrast between her vulnerability and Rohr's casual dismissal highlights the imbalance the court must now confront.
Valerian Hotel garage. The Valerian Hotel, one of the most expensive places in the city, the kind of place where the lobby smells like money and the staff is trained to treat rich people like royalty. I looked up. Mr. Rourke, I said, you left the scene of an accident where a nurse was injured. Miles smiled like he was entertained. Allegedly, he said, one word. Cold. Smug. Whitcomb stepped in fast. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations. There are issues of identification, issues of procedure. We have retained experts. I raised my hand. I'll hear what I need to hear. Elena spoke softly. Your Honor, I was coming home from the hospital. We were short-staffed. I worked a double shift. She took a breath and held the folder tighter. My son Mateo, he's 8. He has diabetes. I have to be home to check his sugar. My mother was watching him, but she's sick.
Tension spikes when Rohr laughs and mutters that Elena is being dramatic. The judge shuts it down immediately, reminding him this is not theater. Rohr doubles down, implying people exaggerate because of who he is. The prosecutor then introduces surveillance footage, telemetry data, and registration records. Machines, unlike people, do not bend to status. The evidence begins closing in, and Rohr's confidence starts to look hollow.
68 and she gets confused with the insulin. Her voice shook for a second. When that car hit me, I felt my wrist snap. I heard it, like a branch, and I couldn't move my neck. I sat there and I thought I was going to die in my car. She swallowed hard. The next day, I went to work anyway. I couldn't afford not to. I had a brace. I had pain, but my patients needed me. Then she looked up at Miles, just for a moment, and he didn't even stop. Miles let out a small laugh, not loud, just enough to be cruel. So dramatic, he muttered. I heard it. My clerk heard it. Elena heard it. The room felt it. I leaned forward. Mr. Rourke, I said.
As data confirms speed, impact, and flight, Rohr mocks Elena again, suggesting she should buy a safer car. The courtroom falls into a stunned silence. A delivery driver witness steps forward, identifying the Lamborghini and its distinctive plate. Rohr dismisses him as a waste of time. The judge intervenes, making clear that every witness deserves respect, signaling that arrogance will not control this room.
This is not a theater, this is court. He spread his hands like I was being unfair. I'm just saying, he said, people exaggerate when they see someone like me. Someone like me. He meant rich. He meant powerful. The prosecutor, Ms. Janet Sue, stepped forward. Your Honor, the state has surveillance from the Valerian Hotel garage and dashcam footage. We also have vehicle telemetry data obtained via warrant. Whitcomb frowned. Your Honor, authenticity. We'll address it, I said. Proceed. Officer Ramirez confirmed the videos existed. Ms. Shu said the Lamborghini.
The case darkens when the prosecutor reveals attempted witness intimidation. A direct message offering money is presented, complete with a selfie matching the Rolex on Roar's wrist. His composure cracks for the first time. He brushes it off as fan interaction, but the court is no longer buying excuses. This moment reframes the defendant not as careless, but as calculating and willing to manipulate the process.
It was registered to Rourke Holdings, LLC. The car's telemetry showed speed at 82 miles per hour at 10:47 p.m., hard steering input, impact and acceleration after. The machine told the truth. Machines don't care who your father is. Miles shrugged. Cars are complicated, he said. Data can be wrong. Then he looked over at Elena and said, loud enough for everyone, maybe next time buy a safer car. The room went silent. Not quiet like polite quiet. Quiet like a punch landed. Elena's face drained of color. She didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just stood there, humiliated, like she was being punished for being normal. I took a slow breath. My father's voice came into my mind, the way it always does when someone tries to turn cruelty into confidence. He used to say,
Elena speaks again, quietly describing how her injury nearly cost her son his life. Roar calls it emotional manipulation. The judge corrects him sharply, calling it reality. Roar then stands uninvited, boasting about donations and wealth, declaring they are not the same. The judge responds with devastating simplicity, pointing out that most people at least know how to say they're sorry.
A man's character isn't what he owns. It's how he treats people who can't help him. I asked Ms. Shu, any witness besides the officer and victim? Yes, she said, a delivery driver who saw the collision. A man stood from the back, nervous, rough hands, work cap. His name was Darren Pike. He pointed. That Lamborghini had a plate that said Rourke. I remember because I thought it was crazy, like something you'd see online. Miles rolled his eyes. Can we stop wasting time with gig workers? He said. I have a board meeting tomorrow. I stared at him. In my courtroom, I said, we respect everyone, especially the people who show up. He smirked. Sure, he said. That's cute. Cute. He called justice cute. Ms. Shu kept going. Your Honor, the state also has information the defendant attempted to influence a witness.
Financial losses are presented, and Roar reduces restitution to charity, mocking the court. Officer Ramirez adds that Roar flipped him off during the chase. Then the prosecutor unveils social media posts showing Roar speeding, crashing, laughing, and mocking the victim online. The courtroom shifts from legal analysis to moral reckoning as the defendant's own words expose his character beyond any doubt.
Whitcomb snapped. Objection. Tell me, I said. Ms. Shu looked at Darren. Mr. Pike received a direct message at 1:11 a.m. on April 19th from an account associated with Mr. Rourke. Darren swallowed. It said, be smart. Don't get involved. I'll make it worth your time. The air tightened. Bribery, pressure, the kind of thing that tells you the person isn't just reckless. He's calculating. Whitcomb tried to smile his way out. Your Honor, accounts can be impersonated. Ms. Shu didn't blink. The message included a selfie of Mr. Rourke holding a stack of $100 bills and a watch. The watch matches the Rolex Daytona he is wearing today. Miles's face flickered. Just a flash of panic before he covered it with attitude. I have fans, Miles said. People message me. I message back. I said, a witness is not a fan. He rolled his eyes. Whatever. Elena spoke again, and her voice was smaller now, like she was trying not to bother anyone with her pain. Your Honor, she said, when my wrist broke, I couldn't draw Mateo's insulin. I had to ask my mom. She messed up once. His sugar dropped to 42. He was shaking. His lips were blue. She pressed her lips together and tears rolled anyway. I held him and I thought I was losing him because someone couldn't slow down. Miles shook his head like he was tired of it. That's emotional manipulation, he said, respectfully. No, I said, that's reality. Then
More videos surface, including a hotel suite brag session where Roar flaunts lawyers, cash, and openly threatens to crush the victim in court. He even insults the judge publicly. When asked directly, Roar hides behind free speech and contempt. His language toward Elena becomes openly demeaning, drawing a line between those who build and those who serve, a line the court refuses to accept.
Miles stood without permission. He buttoned his suit like we were in a negotiation. Judge, he said, with all due respect, this is a misunderstanding. I donate more in a month than most people in this room make in a year. Let's not pretend we're the same. That sentence wasn't just arrogance, it was a worldview. It was him saying the law was a costume for poor people. He looked around like my courtroom was beneath him. I thought this place handled minor stuff, he said. I didn't expect this. Then he said, I'm not one of your regulars. I leaned forward. Mr. Rourke, you're right about one thing, I said. He smiled like he'd won. You're not one of my regulars, I said, because most of my regulars know how to say, I'm sorry. The room held its breath. Miles's smile twitched, like his face didn't know how to process being challenged. And before we go further, here's a dare for you. Keep listening and tell me honestly, if a rich man laughed after hurting a nurse and mocking her child, would you stay calm or would you lose it? Ms. Shu opened another folder. Your Honor, Exhibit B includes a certified copy of Ms. Morales' wage loss, $1,146.72 for missed shifts. Vehicle damage estimated at $6,380. Deductible $1,000. Her insurer disputes coverage because this was a hit and run. Miles shrugged. I can pay for her little car, he said. Is that what this is? A fundraiser? A fundraiser. My courtroom reduced to a charity event for his ego. Officer Ramirez added one more detail. Your Honor, he said, when I activated my lights behind the Lamborghini at approximately 10:53 p.m., the driver looked back and made an obscene gesture. Middle finger. Then accelerated. Miles laughed. That's not a crime, he said. That's communication. Whitcomb tried to steady it. Your Honor, my client is passionate. I said, passion without discipline is a problem. Then Ms. Shu said, Your Honor, we have a public social media post from the defendant. I felt the room lean in without even moving. She said, This is from Mr. Rourke's public Instagram story, posted at 11:17 p.m. on April 18th. Whitcomb started, Authenticity. Proceed, I said. The courtroom monitor lit up. There was Miles Rourke in the driver's seat of the Lamborghini, music blasting, his grin wide.
The prosecutor raises flight risk and federal interest. An FBI agent enters, calmly explaining this as part of a larger pattern involving fraud and obstruction. Roar attempts intimidation, boasting about family influence and wealth. The judge responds firmly, stating money cannot buy respect or accountability. Roar's statement that accountability is for people without options turns the entire room against him.
The camera swung down for a moment and caught the speedometer, 83 frame. Then the video jerked. A loud bang, a scream. The camera tilted, and Miles's voice said clear as day, Oops. Then he laughed. He turned the camera on his face and said, Bro, she came out of nowhere. And then he added, Providence drivers are broke and blind. Elena covered her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks, silent, like she didn't want to give Miles the satisfaction of seeing her break. Ms. Shu clicked to the next image, a screenshot of a poll Miles had posted. Should I stop? Option A. Nah, I'm late. Option B. Pay her later. Thousands of votes, laugh reactions, people cheering him on. That's when the courtroom stopped feeling like a place where facts get discussed. It started feeling like a place where morality gets weighed. Miles tried to save himself with the oldest lie. That's edited, he said. Miss Shu didn't even look at him. We have certified extraction via warrant, she said. Hash values match. It's authentic. Miles's lawyers went quiet. Not because they agreed, because they knew. Then Miss Shu said, There is also a Snapchat video from 12:04 a.m. on April 19th. Snapchat, the app people think erases their sins, but the internet doesn't forget, and law enforcement doesn't guess. She played it. Miles was in a hotel suite at the Valerian, champagne bottles, a woman laughing in the background, a table full of cash spread out like a brag, and on the couch sat a bright orange Hermes Birkin bag placed like a trophy. Miles panned the camera and said, "If you're ever in trouble, don't talk to cops, just call expensive people." He swung the camera to a row of men in suits, lawyers. He laughed. "Look at my legal squad." Then he leaned into the camera and said, "And if some working-class nobody tries to play victim, I'll crush them in court. Watch. Crush them, like a threat, like a promise." Then he said something that made the whole room turn toward me. "This judge tomorrow, he's just a paid referee. He probably still takes the bus." He posted that about me, publicly, before he even stepped into my courtroom. Now, I've been insulted, I've been called names, I'm not fragile. But that wasn't just about me. That was him telling the world the court was a joke. And when the court becomes a joke,
The judge orders Roar remanded, rejecting bail theatrics. Roar erupts, accusing the court of class warfare. At that moment, his father enters. Calm, disappointed, and resolute. He condemns his son's behavior and supports the court's decision. The dynamic shifts completely as Roar realizes his wealth and lineage can no longer shield him from judgment or consequence.
the weak become targets. I looked at Miles. "Did you post that video?" I asked. He crossed his arms. "Even if I did," he said, "free speech." Whitcomb tried to jump in. I stopped him with my hand. "No," I said. "I'm speaking to him." Miles leaned forward. "You want to lecture me?" he said. "Go ahead. But remember, I'm not here because I'm guilty. I'm here because you people need to feel powerful." You people. Then he turned to Elena. "And she's loving this, playing the saint." Elena whispered, "I just wanted you to stop." Miles laughed. "Stop, lady, I have investors. I have a jet. You think I'm pulling over because you got scared?" Then he turned to me and said, "This is what you don't understand, Judge. Some of us build. Some of us serve coffee and change bedpans." Elena flinched. That insult cut deep because nurses don't just change bedpans. They hold hands while people die. They catch the last words. They carry pain home and still show up the next day. I said, "Mr. Rourke, my mother cleaned houses. My father worked with his hands. I didn't get here by stepping on people. I got here by respecting them." Miles smirked. "Nice story," he said. "Doesn't change my net worth." Net worth. Like that was his religion. Ms. Shu stepped forward again. "Your Honor, I need the court to consider flight risk. We have been contacted by a federal task force. They request notification if defendant is released." Whitcomb snapped. "This is a state matter." Ms. Shu looked at me. "It relates to bail conditions." I asked, "What is the state alleging?" Ms. Shu said, "Potential federal charges involving wire fraud and obstruction." The word obstruction made the lawyers stiffen. Even the ones who looked fearless before now looked careful. Miles tried to laugh, but it sounded thin. "This is ridiculous," he said. Then he said the dumbest thing a man can say in front of the law. "You know who my father is?" he said. "You know who my family knows? I could buy this courthouse." Gasps.
At sentencing, Roar offers a hollow apology focused on perception. Elena responds with dignity, saying she wants understanding, not revenge. The judge recounts Roar's actions and contempt for equality, then imposes maximum penalties, license suspension, heavy restitution, and fines. The weight of accountability finally lands, stripping away the image Roar relied on to dominate others.
"You angry whispers." I leaned forward. "Your money can buy a lot of things," I said. Miles smiled like I finally understood. "But it can't buy my respect," I said. "And it can't buy your way out of accountability." He scoffed. "Accountability is for people who don't have options." That line turned the room against him in a way no evidence ever could, because it showed his soul. Then Ms. Shu said, "Your Honor, the federal agent is present today." The side door opened. A man walked in wearing a dark suit. Badge clipped at his belt. The room went still. He moved like someone who doesn't need to raise his voice. Special Agent Daniel Kessler, he said. FBI, badge ID 5K1117. Miles's eyes widened just a fraction. Agent Kessler faced me. Your Honor, we have an active investigation involving Mr. Rourke and Rourke Dynamics, evidence of wire fraud, securities fraud, and obstruction of justice. We request the court consider a hold due to risk of flight. Whitcomb stood fast. Your Honor, prejudicial. Agent Kessler didn't even look at him. This is not just a traffic case, he said. The accident is part of a pattern. Mr. Rourke believes consequences don't apply to him. That belief has harmed a lot of people. Miles snapped, You don't just take down someone like me. Agent Kessler's voice stayed calm. We don't take down someone like you. We take down anyone who breaks the law. Miles turned to me with anger burning in his face. You're enjoying this, he said. Little people always enjoy watching big people bleed. Little people. He called me little. I held his gaze. Then I spoke slowly. Mr. Rourke, I said, there's one word that decides this whole situation. He narrowed his eyes. What word? I leaned forward. Enough. One word. Enough. Not a speech, not a show, just a boundary he couldn't buy. I turned to the clerk. Remand pending further proceedings, I said. Set conditions. Notify the appropriate agencies. Whitcomb protested. Your Honor, my client can post any amount. This isn't an auction, I said. Miles stood, voice rising. You can't do this. I have obligations. So did Ms. Morales, I said. She had to get home to her child. You didn't care. He shouted, This is class warfare. No, I said, this is accountability. Then the authority figure that nobody expected walked in, an older man with silver hair and a face that looked tired, not proud. He stepped forward with a slow kind of sadness. Your Honor, he said, I'm Charles Rourke. Miles froze. Dad? His father didn't look at him at first. He looked at me. Judge, he said, Agent Kessler contacted me. I'm here because I've been lied to. Miles whispered, Don't do this here. Charles Rourke finally looked at his son. You brought 12 lawyers to bully a nurse, he said. You filmed yourself laughing after you hit her. Miles snapped. It was a joke. It's content. Charles shook his head slowly. My mother was a nurse, he said. Your grandmother. She would be ashamed. Miles looked stunned, like he couldn't understand being judged by his own blood. Charles faced me again. Your Honor, he said, I won't ask for favors. I won't interfere. I just want you to know, whatever you decide, you have my support. Miles's face cracked. Not tears. Something uglier. Fear mixed with betrayal. You're siding with them? Miles whispered. His father's voice rose. I'm siding with right, he said. And the room felt it, like the truth.
The judge delivers poetic justice, ordering 1,000 hours of community service at the same hospital Elena works in. Federal custody looms next. As Roar is escorted out, his father apologizes to Elena. The judge closes with a reflection on character, humility, and equality before the law, reminding viewers that strength does not grant immunity. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.